Hey folks, welcome back. And I'm showing you this to you to give you kind of a idea of all the different pieces that we're going to be learning. You don't need to memorize this by any stretch. I'm just trying to show you all of the different pieces and parts that we're going to be doing within this unit. There's going to be places in region, which is where we started, or which is where we're going to start. And then there's cultural diffusion. There is societal interactions and cooperation, as well as public policy. So with all of this, there are a ton of different skills that you're going to be picking up along the way. So I wanted to give you that as kind of a preview of all that we're going to be doing, which is a lot. I still wanted to try and hold true to the workload that I was working with you guys with. And so today's classwork is going to be focused on places and regions. So your learning goal is being able to recognize different features and functions of digital imagery and other geographic tools to recognize differences and similarities in settlements of developed and developing nations, while also becoming familiar with and confident in using various geographic tools. Students, you will make settlement connections to surrounding physical and human geography. So we are going to look heavily on everything with the exception of the developed and developing nation part. We're going to be looking at those kinds of examples. We're just not going to be pinpointing exactly what is developed and what is developing. It's actually a lot simpler than you think, though. Please keep in mind with today's class meeting, hopefully you showed up. If you are watching this before class starts, anticipate being in class pretty much the whole time together, and I will be doing a participation check today. If you are with us in class, though, you should be able to get the majority of A and B and started with C. That is my goal for you guys. And all you need to do for today's assignment is part A, B, and C. Now, C is a little bit lengthier, but there's some cool interpreting and analyzing that you get to do with certain sources. Parts D and E, those will come later, so don't even bother worrying about those. I'm not going to go through these too much in depth because we are doing it in class, but I can tell you that part A is vocab. That is going to be on a vocab slide, which will be also uploaded, and in the agenda instructions or on this sheet, it will tell you specifically what slide to use for the vocab. So that's pretty simple. This part right here is one example of many significant instructions as far as I'm giving you specific instructions on what I want you to do for each. So like this part right here, you might want to pay attention to because you're not necessarily going to have to see these. You're not going to see these definitions on a slide. You're going to come up with these on your own based off of things we did in the fall. So don't be shy and please make sure that you are thorough with your explanation. But you can still keep it to 1 to 2 sentences. If you're more than 2 sentences, you're going kind of overboard. For part B, purposes of satellite imagery, I'm actually going to be walking through this with you guys pretty directly because this is a dense reading. We are mainly going to be focused on this first page. So there's a question related to the abstract, and then there's a question related to the introduction. And again, I'm going to try and just go through that with you during class. Part C, you might actually be doing on your own. If that's the case, that'll be fine. The sources that I want you to use are linked through with the exception of part D. That is going to be put in the agenda on Wednesday. Read each question carefully and pay attention to specific instructions on where you are supposed to look to find the answer. If you're not paying attention on where you need to look, then you're going to be lost and you're not going to know what to do. For instance, this first one, you'll see that it says, what is the purpose of knowing how to successfully use the 5 tips and strategies listed at the beginning of the source? So you will open the source and you will look at the beginning of the source. Here's the top. And usually list means something like that. I know it seems pretty straightforward, but I'm just trying to save you guys some time as well as avoid any confusion that you may have. for this next part. You can find all of this within the text. I would like you to please write your correct answer in between these spaces as you see. Now this part right here for part C is where it gets kind of fun, because now you get to analyze and interpret these images. Pay attention to the fact that these numbers, or the numbers within the table, are just to the left and they're kind of small. So there's only 4 total, and the second image is actually 2 different ones that you're comparing, and then the 4th image as well. I can't stress enough for you guys to pay attention to any text that also is included on the images. And then once again, read the instructions. As you guys know, my Meet link is open all day. I will try to be available. And if you miss me, send me a message or pop in later to try again. I believe that's all that we need for this first day, so have fun with it. Part D, you are not doing until Wednesday. Parts D and E, you're not doing until Wednesday. So today's focus is parts A, B, and C. If you don't get these completed during class time, you will need to get these completed before class. This whole thing, parts A through E, meaning classes Monday and Wednesday, will be due Friday at midnight.